Bell rolls is the reporter thrown into the secretive world of the Forex Super Model, where nothing is as it seems. Beware the techno monk, and steer clear of Professor Code and his two assistants. Give the senior trader a wide berth, and don't expect any sense from the risk manager.
Good morning, I'm Professor Code and this is the Forex Super Model Daily Review for Tuesday the 10th of the 8th, 2021. Time is just coming up to 04:30, 4:30 in the morning GMT. Asian session coming to close, European session firing up, our lunchtime, North American session. Right, let's have a look then. So Monday the 9th, which was yesterday, we had a negative driver in the euro. Negative opposed driver is minus 97. Front and back door flows mainly going into the yen at plus 74, into the dollar at plus 53. And the pound was a negative rock at minus 30. Activity plus or minus 127. Intra-week then, this is from Monday, the open to about 15 minutes ago. We've got a negative opposed driver in the pound, minus 70. Front and back door flows mainly going into the dollar at plus 69, into the yen at plus 67, and the euro is the negative rock at minus 66. Activity plus or minus 136. Right, so yesterday we had the weak euro. Over the week so far, intra-week, we've got a weak pound driving, but the flows are very balanced. There's not much in it. And intraday, then, this is from the Asian session to about 15 minutes ago. We've got a positive opposed driver in the dollar at plus 16. A messy situation on flows because we've got joint secondary drivers and movers. So we've got technically front and back door flows coming out of the pound and the yen, and we've got a positive rock as the euro at plus 6, activity plus or minus 22. Right, if you remember, where are we? Right, last week we had the yen was negatively driving at minus 211 with strength in the dollar and the pound, and a little bit of weakness in the euro. We've still yesterday we've got the end of this euro negativity driving, and now over the week we're getting negative pound driving, so that's interesting. So let's have a look what's going on in the flows and the asset classes. Just get rid of this and so we'll break down the flows into the complexes as we usually do. Right, so let's start then. So the euro, remember this is the Asian session, is strong across the board. The yen is weak except against the AUD and the NZD. The pound is strong except against the euro, the dollar and the Swiss. The Swiss is strong except against the euro. The CAD is weak except against the yen, the AUD and the NZD. The AUD is weak except against the NZD, and the NZD itself is weak across the board, and the dollar is strong except against the Swiss and the euro. Right, so what have we got? We've got euro strength across the board in the Asian session, and we've got New Zealand weakness across the board. AUD weakness as well, apart from against the NZD. Take your pick in the middle. Right, so let's just get rid of that and look at the asset classes, and we'll start as usual with the US dollar index. Right. So US dollar index. Right, where are we then? So basically the US dollar index broke. It came back and it's now just sub highs. Gold won't particularly like that, as so we had that double top sub there, and then you had that big spike yesterday down, and it's now 0.26 from the floor. So gold's soft. oil. Big pump up a while ago, came back, went up again, and it's now pretty much it's 0.33 from the model floor. It's a third above the model floor, so oil's soft as well. Wall Street, you've got this sort of treble top arrangement, and it's just sub highs. S&P, you had that break. It's just come back slightly, sub highs again. Tech, likewise. So equities are pretty pumped up and up there. So US 10-year, this is the bond, and this is the price. So basically, we had this ramp up in price, fall off in yields. Where is it there? And then it broke again, and it's come back. The price has come off. It's 0.43 from the high. So yield, price has come down, yields have gone up. So we're getting a strengthening in US yields, and the bund, which is the European equivalent. So look, that basically had a significant break in price up. Yields were very soft, and now yields are coming back a bit. It's 0.35 from the high. So you've got this. For a while you had US yields outstripping EU yields, European yields. We had this softer euro dollar, and now the euro's catching up a bit. Right, so that's interesting. So copper had this big chop period. It then did a massive break up, and then it came right back down again. It's now 0.33 from the floor. So it's a third above the model floor. It's still soft. US steel, basically US steel came off, and it's come back. It's 0.26 from the high. So it's about a quarter from the high. So that's improved. Right, let's get rid of that then, and just make some assessments of what we think is going to happen in the flows today, and going forward, and then we'll talk about what's actually going to knock it about in terms of data and so forth. So let's have a look then. So what's going to knock it about then? Well, today we've got German ZU sentiment index, which is a tier 2 event. Basically, data is relatively light this week. It revolves around the CPI, inflation data, GDP for GBP, UK, and consumer sentiment, Michigan consumer sentiment Friday. So it's pretty light. We had people ranting and raving about the negative AUD business sentiment, but quite honestly, it's a tier 1 event according to us. And it's inevitable that people are going to be pessimistic at the moment with the lockdowns in Australia. So I wouldn't read too much into that yet. The market's reacted quite wildly, but that's because there's nothing else around. It's the only game in town at the moment, right? So let's have a look then. Right, so you've got, if you look at the flows and the transmissions, then. So the yen, we've got the equity situation, and equities are basically just sub highs. So you've got this transmission potentially, and if you look at last week, the yen weakness was starting to recede. Yesterday we had yen strength plus 74. It was the positive secondary driver. It's now in the Asian session, it's starting to think about coming off. So the likelihood we're going to get a neutral to soft yen. So that's where we are on the yen probably. The dollar index is basically nearly at the top, but as I said, we still think the dollar's got some room to move. It's moving up through the FX gears, so we think the dollar's going to be positive, and that leaves the euro. The euro hasn't shown signs of fully bottoming out. Normally you'd expect at least in the intraday or somewhere in the Asian session, for the euro to be the negative unopposed driver. And it hasn't yet, it's only been negatively driving in an opposed manner. So the likelihood is the euro will be neutral to soft again. So you're going to get that sort of situation. So you've got flows into the dollar, out of the yen, possibly neutral, out of the euro in a neutral manner, and we're likely to see flows out of the pound. The most likely point to have a go at is GBP USD, so pound dollar, and it's likely to be looking south, looking at a short situation on GBP USD, and we were looking at euro pound, but you've got this situation where the euro is likely to be quite weak and the pound is likely to be even weaker. So that's probably not a good place to park. But I think short GBP USD looks the way to go today with the flows. It's going to be it's quite complex at the moment. We haven't had any full sort of triggers or indicators, but we're getting there. So that's where we are. We think we're going to get a bit of a strength in the dollar, neutral to weakness in the euro, a bit of neutral to weakness in the yen, and we're going to get pretty much stronger weakness in the pound. And that's why we would suggest that shorting pound dollar is probably running with the flows today. So I hope that was useful. Thank you for watching. See you tomorrow.